All right, guys, this is a video on multiplying fractions. Hopefully a lot of this will be a review from last year, but I'm going to add in some other pieces. So let's go ahead and get started. So remember when you have your notes there. So multiplying fractions is actually one of the easiest, much easier than adding and subtracting. So to multiply, you simply multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators. So if you look here, 3/4 times 8/9. I simply multiply 3 times 8, gives me 24, 4 times 9, and it gives me 36. Okay, the hardest part that you all are going to have is this part right here, which is going to be to simplify or to reduce. So if you look here, 24 and 36, hopefully you realize that both of those have a factor of 12. So I simplified, or I divided both by 12. So 24 divided by 12 would have given me 2, and 36 divided by 12 would have given me 3. Again, if you didn't know it was 12 to start off with, let's say you did recognize that they had a 6 in common. Oops, 6. You would have gotten 4/6, which hopefully, again, you would have realized you could have divided by 2, which gave me 2/3. So remember, when you always simplify by that greatest common factor, you'll only have to divide one time. So that's why it's important for you to know those factors. It's really important here, guys, for you to know your multiplication facts. Okay? All right, so that was on your notes. So let's just keep talking here. So when we multiply whole numbers, let's say 5 times 6, we get 30. You always get a bigger number. However, now when we start multiplying by a fraction multiplied by a fraction is actually going to give you a smaller number. So let's say I have 1/2 times 3/4. What that means is I'm taking a piece of a piece. So that means I have a half of something, maybe a half of a candy bar, but I'm going to give you 3/4 of it. So I'm taking 3/4 of that half. So I'm not even starting with the whole thing. I have half a candy bar. So here's my half a candy bar right here that I have, and I want 3/4 of it. So 3/4 of it, let's see, I can't go evenly here, which it should be evenly, but 3/4 of it would just be that much. Okay, so it's less than what I started with. So it's a piece of a piece. Okay, that's why it's actually smaller. All right, so you have these on your notes page. So let's go ahead and do some together, and then I'll let you do some by yourself. All right, so if you look at this, let's just simply multiply straight across. So that would be 15 over 32. They don't have any factors in common, so that's simply my answer. Okay, let's go again. 9 times 3, 27. 10 times 5, 50. Ooh, again, no common factors, so that is my answer. Okay, multiply straight across. That's 42 over 84. They have a lot of factors. I know what the greatest common factor is, but I'm not sure if you would recognize it. So right off the bat, you might recognize a 7. So that would give me 6/12. Ooh, and I know I can divide those both by 6, so I get 1/2. Okay, up here, the greatest common factor would have been 42. Okay, all right, so on your notes, you have these 3 problems. Go ahead and pause the video and come back with your answers. And of course, make sure those answers are simplified. All right, check those answers. Okay, if you did not come up with the exact answer, the correct answer, come up here and check and see if you got the original answer and if your problem area was when you were simplifying. Okay. One of the hardest thing is simplifying for you guys because some of you still don't know your multiplication facts. So I'm going to try to help you out a little bit. So if you look at this problem here, remember, at the very end, we simplify, okay? But we can actually simplify anytime before the problem, before we even start. Remember, simplifying was simply dividing the numerator and the denominator by the same number, okay? So if we look at this problem, first, if I were going to ask you to do that one, whoo, that'd be a very large answer here, which means you probably would have to do a lot of simplifying at the end, okay? But what we can do is called canceling. Okay, and what that does is not just wait until the end to simplify, we're going to simplify the problem before it even starts. So as long as I'm looking at a numerator and a denominator, I can simplify. So I don't just have to look at here and here, I can also look at my diagonals. Okay, do 14 and 28 have anything in common? Well, I know they're even, so I can divide by 2. I know they have 7 as a factor, but they also have 14 as a factor. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to divide them both by 14. If I divide by 14, I get 1. If I divide this by 14, I get 2. Okay? Now I'm going to look at my other diagonals. I'm going to look at these. Do they have anything in common? Hopefully you saw that one right away. I can divide those both by 5. Divide by 5, divide by 5. Okay? Now, one more thing after I've done my diagonal canceling, I'm going to look here. Does 1 and 3 have anything in common? No. Does 4 and 2 have anything in common? Yes, they do. I can divide those both by 2. So if I divide by 2, I get 1. If I divide by 2, I get 2. So now there's no other canceling or simplifying I can do. So I'm going to multiply straight across. So 1 times 2 is 2. And 3 times 1 is 3. So all of that just came up to here. Okay. Ooh, I know that that is a little bit of a confusing. So we're going to do some more problems, okay? So let's try this one together. So again, you can look at the numerator and denominator, or you can look at my diagonals, okay? I'm going to choose to look at the diagonals first. Okay, so I'm going to look here first. Okay, do you see a common factor? Again, if you're not sure, you should be looking at your factor sheet. Okay? All right, so I see that they both have 3 in common. So I'm going to divide by 3, I get 4. Divide by 3, I get 9. Do you see that I'm saying it out loud so that I don't accidentally write down the wrong answer there? Now I'm going to look at these. Again, that's an easy one there. Hopefully you recognize that they have 5 in common. Divide by 5, and I get 3. Divide by 5, and I get 5. Okay? Now I'm going to look any others. Numerator, denominator, no. Numerator, denominator, no. Remember, you have to have a numerator, denominator. You can't look at both bottoms or both tops. Okay? So multiply straight across. 4 times 5 is 20. And 3 times 9 is 27. Okay? It will get better after you practice more. Okay? It will get better, I promise. All right? Sometimes you have a problem that's really kind of simple. It doesn't look like you need to do much canceling. But if you look right here, 5 and 8 don't have anything in common, but 7 and 7 do. So this is a really easy one. 7 and 7, they both have 7 in common. So anytime you divide a number by itself, 7 divided by 7 is going to give me 1. 7 divided by 7 is going to give me 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. 8 times 1 is 8. Okay? All right. Okay, so you have these 2 problems on your paper. Go ahead and just do the first one. Let's do the first one together and see how you do. Or you do the first one, pause the video, and come back and check your answer. All right, check your answer. If you notice, I had to do these over here more than once. So if for some reason you got 10 over 54, you didn't cancel one more time, but you should have seen at this point that you could have divided by 2 again, which would have given me that 5/27ths. Okay? All right, let's try the next one. All right, pause the video and come back for your answer. All right, I decided I was going to do it with you. So I see that these are divisible by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, oops, divide by 2. Okay, these I can divide by 6. So divide by 6, divide by 6. Okay, I don't see anything else that I have. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 7 is 21. Okay? All right, again, the more practice you do on these, the better you will get, I promise. All right? All right, this part is not in your notes, but let's just quick do a reminder. When you have a whole number, when you have a whole number, in order to turn it into a fraction, you simply put it over 1. So 5 is the same thing as 5 over 1. If you look here, 6 over 1 times 3/4, then you can do your canceling or multiply straight across. Okay? So if you have any whole number, if you want to turn it into a fraction, you simply put it over 1. Okay? All right. All right, you have 5 problems I want you to do on your own. There is not room on your notes, so I need you to do this on a separate piece of paper. Okay, I want you to do this on a separate piece of paper. You have 5 problems. This is what I'm going to look for your answers. Okay? All right, I'll be looking for these tomorrow. Have a great day, guys.